Hi and welcome to Ball Masters Football. We're back again with another video. Today we were doing the roundup, game week 7 of the Premier League. The first game we'll be discussing is Arsenal. Their impressive result against Brentford. They won the game 3-0. I thought, to be honest, it was, considering we played them previously last season, first game of the season, COVID stricken with a couple of key players. We ended up losing the game 3-0 and it became a snowball effect. Then we had the City game, then the Chelsea game straight after. So I think it was quite good just to get ourselves back in the swing of things, especially after our last result was against Manchester United. But we done really well. The three players I was impressed with, four even, was Saka, Xhaka and Jesus, and the other one was Vieira. Considering Vieira came in, obviously again scored on his debut, I thought as well the strike that he took with his left foot was fantastic goal. Overall, from first half and second half, we dominated the game. I thought it was a quite easy win. There weren't really much of a threat Brentford going forward, which I was a bit surprised with, considering they were the home team and how well they are in terms of going forward, their speed in their play. So I was a bit surprised that we allowed them to minimal things going forward in terms of a threat to Arsenal. I thought Saliba was very, very good at the back. I didn't really think, even though he didn't really have much to do, I just felt the things that he had to do, he was steady and assured with what he was doing. I did like the goal that he scored. Quite a good header. Came off the post and went in. The keeper tried to hit it out so that it make it look like it didn't go over the line, but it was way over the line. But yeah, I thought overall it sent a message out to all the other teams to catch up to Arsenal. They're top of the league now. Again, I thought it could have been a banana skin of a game where you could have seen Brentford at least get a draw or get something from it. And speaking to a few Arsenal fans, I think even Kaya was even saying that he thinks they could lose the game or draw the game even. So I think a few Arsenal fans were thinking quite similar, but nonetheless, we got the 3 points, which I was quite impressed with. The next game, which was a good game, in fact, was Tottenham V Leicester. It was a good game because there was a lot of goals in there. 6-2 win to Spurs. Song hat-trick after 8 games without a goal. I know there's a lot of talk surrounding Song in terms of, is he hasn't scored in 8 games, he should be benched and so forth. And I'm thinking to myself, look how many seasons the guy's been consistent. And there are going to come periods where he is going to be on a dip and he may need some games just to show, just to get his foot back into it. And I think maybe the substitution, him not starting the game, had an impact where he just come on and he just scored 3 goals, a hat-trick in 14 minutes. So, to me, he's a very good player, very talented player. And I thought he took all 3 goals very well. So I think that could now put competition for, again, Richarlison, Kulusevski, who had a good game, Kulusevski. Harry Kane scored a lovely goal, back stick, unmarked. So I think, again, as I said before about Tottenham, they only get going in the second half. They're very slow in getting out the blocks. And I felt once Leicester got the first goal, they kind of got themselves going, and I thought they dominated the game. I think it was 3 goals from set pieces, and I think they're very, 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 very clinical from corners and free kicks. And I think a lot of their goals this season, I'd like to know a stat on how many goals they've scored this season from free kicks, because they have been quite impressive from set plays. The other points that what I did like as well was that they from a goal behind, they done well in terms of getting a goal back from, I think it was from Dyer, and then from there they ended up scoring a hat load of goals, and then they bring on Song, and then the rest is history. I thought Lloris I thought he was quite steady. I thought he was unlucky. I know he came off his line, but again, it's the rules. But he made a good save on the penalty, but obviously again it was disallowed, rightly so, because he was way off the line. For Leicester, they're in a world of trouble in terms of performances. I honestly don't really know where to start with Leicester in terms of they're not being clinical up. Well, they're not really creating much chances up front. The leaking goals is ridiculous. I don't know whether, I think maybe Kasper Schmeichel, was a important player, and he ended up leaving. And I just don't think they've recovered really. They haven't really settled, especially defensively. I don't really know if they trust the goalkeeper, but they're just conceding goals. I think going forward, they're not really creating, they're not really fluent as they usually are. And I know the pressure is on Brendan Rodgers as well, and rightly so, because obviously performances, haven't been great. They're bottom of the league, and for a club as successful as Leicester have been over the past, you could arguably say, 6 years, they deserve a little bit more. I really hope that Brendan Rodgers can fix it, because I really like him as a coach. But I just hope that he can. I really hope that he can turn this thing around, and the board give him a bit of time to be able to do that. The other player who I did notice as well, who had a really good game, was James Justin. I know he got the penalty, but I just felt going forward, I thought Sanchez couldn't handle him, and there's a couple of times where he got the better of him down the left, and I just think he could be someone that could have a big game this season for Leicester. He could be an important player, but I was really impressed with how he was playing on the left. I thought he especially going forward, he was an amazing threat, and but other than that, I didn't really see him really do much. So yeah, I just think, for me, I just hope that they can keep hold of Brendan. I hope that he can fix the mess that they're in, and that they can start climbing up the table. But fair play to Tottenham, again, even though I did say they've had some shaky starts, but fair play to them. They responded very well, and they ended up getting all the goals that they scored. So, the next game's against Arsenal, which again I'll do a more in-depth talk about both teams going into the weekend's fixture on Thursday. But next team we're going to be discussing is Wolves, Man City. So again, Grealish scored on his first start. I was quite happy that he scored. I know he's been a bit in and out, and he hasn't really been much of a consistent player for Man City. But he came on, scored. Haaland and Foden got themselves on the score sheet as well. I was quite pleased with how well Man City played. I thought they were quite dominant throughout the whole game. I think in terms of you can see why Wolves have went to go and get Diego Costa. Obviously, he couldn't play in that fixture, but you could see why, because I think they're just missing that vocal point. As I said before in previous videos, that Wolves they're a team that can create goals. They just need to get someone on the end of them to score. And I think if they can get someone on the end of them to score, I think it'll be unlimited in terms of where they can finish in the Premier League. I think it was a straightforward win for Man City as well. Again, Haaland, I don't know how many times I'm going to be again singing the guy's praises. The guy's just scoring goals for fun, and I can easily see him in all competitions easily getting 40 goals this season, 30 to 40 goals easily. The season's not even anywhere near halfway, and he's already scored a hatful of goals already. So, let's hope that he can keep it going and progress further up make more of a distance in terms of top goal scorer, because I reckon that he'll be on a lot of teams' fantasy teams, and again, he's doing really well. So let's hope that he can keep that going for Man City. Wolves, again, as I mentioned about Diego Costa. Sorry, I think hopefully they got the international break and he should be back for that game. The other thing what I did notice was the challenge from Nathan Collins, I believe his name is. I don't know what one was worse in terms of his tackle or Nigel de Jong's against Germany in the World Cup. It was just I don't know why he would think it would be okay to put his foot up that high into the guy's chest, Grealish's chest, and absolutely mistime it and be reckless like that. I think it's quite, well, deservedly red card, but I just didn't understand why his teammates were trying to appeal. It's a stonewall red, there's nothing, you better just better off just walking instead of just wasting time, just walk, just keep walking, man. It's a dangerous tackle, and I think if anything, if anything, I think he'd be very fortunate to not have any more said on it in terms of further fines and further punishments, because that was very reckless. The next game is Forest Fulham. Forest, I don't know. To be honest, I don't really know I don't really know what's happening with Forest at the minute. I know they've signed a lot of players. Again, I thought Gibbs White and Brendan Johnson linked up very well in the first half. But I don't know with them is that they start off well in the first half, and then for whatever reason, the second half they end up allowing the team back in, and then they end up losing the game or drawing the game. It's the same thing, kind of similar that happened against Bournemouth. I forgot what other game it was. I think it was another game that it's happened to again. I can't remember the name. It will come to me. But they will be in front, or they'll be the dominant team, and then second half it will just capitulate. And I don't know whether it's once they concede, they just panic and they end up making mistakes defensively and they end up conceding. But I just felt that at this present moment in time with the new team, maybe there might be a bit too many new players in the team, and maybe should have kept some of them ones that were some of the day ones that were there from last season in, and maybe integrating the new players slowly in. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one because they just seem a bit shaky to me. In the second half, I think if it's 0-0 and then you go in second half, you're thinking to yourself, you most likely going to win the game, because they just don't really seem to be a team that's a second half team for whatever reason. But again, they've got a good manager in Steve Cooper. But I just think there comes a time when you're going to need to get those things right, because especially when you're at home, your home games are your bread and butter, especially with the newly promoted teams. The away team, Fulham. Again, I thought Mitrovic was going to score. Unfortunately, he didn't get the goal, but there were some really good goals in that game. Paulinho, fantastic finish, first time finish, swept it in top bins. Willian, I thought he had a good game considering his time at Arsenal wasn't the best, but he went abroad, came back to Fulham, and I thought his opening game was very good. Very impressed with him. Williams is a good player. It's just that he just doesn't score enough goals. But I think he's going to be a threat, and I think with him being maybe a go-to player at Fulham, maybe that might give him more responsibility, and by having more responsibility, it might improve his performances, and hopefully Fulham will be able to benefit from that. The next game is Aston Villa Southampton. Now, Villa, I know they've had their draw with Man City, and I think since then they've been getting results. I think their season's kind of been turned round from the inconsistent performances, I should say. But I think they seem to be solid. Jacob Ramsey, again, consistent with that. performances. He scored a lovely goal, but again, it was more of a scramble goal, and he ended up being first, so it came off the crossbar and in. And I thought Tyrone Mings at the back was solid. I thought he had a solid game, even though obviously the captaincy was taken away from him. But nonetheless, I thought he had a solid game for Aston Villa. Southampton didn't really cause much of a threat. I was a bit disappointed in how they played in terms of going forward. I thought, considering the amount of attacking players that they have, I thought they would have at least had a little bit more to give and more questions to give Aston Villa defensively in terms of, wanting to try and see if they can create a goal scoring opportunity. And I thought it was quite minimal in that game. And I thought Aston Villa's defence, I thought they had quite a comfortable evening. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed with Southampton. Again, they were another team that's a bit inconsistent. But nonetheless, nothing taken away from Aston Villa. They were very good and deserved the win. The next game is Everton West Ham. Now, Iwobi, I thought he was, to me, fantastic. I thought everything that was happening was from him. I think Lampard's put him in a new position with he's put him in the midfield three, and I think he's, with terms of getting forward and creating chances, he's doing that. And I thought the last couple of games he's starting to really step up. And I think now Lampard's put him in that central position, he seems to be flourishing. So, again, fair play to Iwobi. I really hope he does very well this season. Hopefully not against when he plays Arsenal. But nonetheless, I know from being a fellow Arsenal player, I hope that he can, kickstart his career and, again, continue with good performances for Everton. I thought it was a good goal that they scored as well from Mumpai. I thought he scored a really good goal, even though it was kind of punched into him quite quickly. First touch, shift, bang. He took it quite early. I think the defender, I forgot the actual defender's name for West Ham. He got to him quite slow, and Mumpai was able to get his shot off before he ended up closing down that angle for him. But defensively, I thought they were very good, Everton. But again, that is just small steps. And I think Lampard's hopefully safe with Everton in terms of being in that relegation scrap. I know it's obviously early, but, if the more points they pick up, the more potential that they have to be safe come the end of the season. West Ham have been a bit funny this season, if I'm being really honest. They've been, I don't know. I know they've changed the formation quite a few times, David Moyes, and I think he's trying to find a formula to complement all of the players that he's got in the team. And I think at the minute, I just don't think he's got a settled formation and a settled lineup. So I think with the international break, I think they're going to find a solution of some sort of how going forward that they're going to be able to play in what system that's going to suit them. But yeah, I just feel that they're going to need some time to get this thing right. What was the next one? The next game is Newcastle Bournemouth, which was a draw in that game. Newcastle had a lot of chances in that game. Bournemouth, being Bournemouth, they grew into the game and they ended up getting their goal. I think as well, they had showed a lot of spirit, to be fair. I think that 9-0 drumming that they got from Liverpool, I don't think they could play any worse this season. And I just feel that what they're trying to do is go, right, let's try and soak up what Newcastle have, especially playing at St James's Park, and then from there we can then impose ourselves on the game. And I thought if that was the game plan, I thought it worked very well, especially as an atmosphere as intimidating as St James's Park. I thought they were very good. Even though Trippier I thought was very good for Newcastle. I thought Isak, again, I think it might be his third game this season. I thought he was very good as well. I thought they hit the post a few times, Newcastle, and their keeper, Neto, had a great Neto for Bournemouth, the goalkeeper, very good. I think, to be honest, if it wasn't for him, Bournemouth would have lost the game. In my opinion, I thought he was just making save after save. Again, he had a bit of luck where the ball was I believe it hit the outside the post from Trippier, and I believe it hit the crossbar. I'm not sure. I can't remember who exactly shot the ball, and it hit the crossbar. But again, they had a few chances, Newcastle, to win the game, but unfortunately, it's one of them games where there's nothing you can do. But that's the 7. That's the 7 fixtures that we have this week, that we had this weekend. Again, thank you for watching. Again, if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, hit the like button if you can, and I look forward to making more videos for you guys. Again, the next video that we'll be uploading will be the highs and lows, and then the big 6 and the predictions will be done on Thursday. All right, I look forward to seeing you all then. Take care now. Bye.